You know the worst thing? I just realized New York Comic Con was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, well, now that's just unfortunate.
Right? Oh, wait, it was 2 weekends ago. It was the 9th through the 12th.
But even still...
Yeah, I could be talking about the Doctor Doom event, One World Under Doom. I could be talking about Ultimate Wolverine. I could be talking about Hush 2, but it's all yesterday's news at this point. So, screw you, Milton.
Yeah, I was gonna say, someone's like, well, why can't you talk about it? It just Hurricane Milton with the song going, all I see around me are familiar faces. And just, I don't know, a montage of Florida weather in general.
Last week of me bringing it up, I swear.
Yeah, for real.
Anyways, welcome to Under the Bridge, everybody.
Welcome to Under the Bridge.
I'm Cody, aka the Scarlet Troll.
And I am Greg, aka Greg.
And this is our podcast where we talk news of the pop culture variety. Sometimes comic news, sometimes gaming news, pretty much always movie news, and also pretty much always a movie review, so make sure to ring the like button and smash that bell and share the video around if you're into that sort of thing, because it really helps us out.
Yes, it does. It helps us out. Share it around in a good way, not like how Milton shared everyone's trees around.
Not a, hey, check out this idiot.
Yes, or maybe do that too. It's still engagement.
You know what, yeah, that's fair. Negative engagement is still engagement, it just hurts my feelings.
I mean, it's just not good engagement. That's not the kind of engagement that we're shooting for.
Hopefully not.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, before we get to the news, I'm just going to reiterate an announcement that we had at the end of last week's episode. I'm going to put it up front this time, like a smart person.
Yay.
This Friday, October the 25th, starting at 9 p.m., we are doing The Return of It Came From Under the Bridge. And by we, I mean me.
Yes. Unfortunately, due to various reasons, I will not be able to be part of it, so Cody will be writing this solo.
Yeah, you gotta watch Venom 3 because you have a life. I can fit that in whenever because I don't have a life.
I mean, I have a life and I have just an insanely busy weekend schedule, so I think that's kind of overtaking my life as it is right now.
Yes, as part of the Night Before Spooktober event at Unlimited Video Games in Pinellas Park, Florida, we are going to be screening a mystery movie, by which I mean it's being kept secret. It's not a mystery movie. It's a horror movie.
I mean, it would be pretty great if it's a mystery movie. Like, I don't know, you decide to do one of the animated, or, well, they're all animated, but one of, like, the early Scooby-Doo movies. That'd be funny.
I guess that would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? Anyways,
Yes.
I'm not going to give away what it is here, but I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be card-themed this time, because the trunk or treat is on a separate night.
Yes, on a broader sense as well. If you have anything going on that weekend, or you don't, rather, even if you do, cancel your plans, go to Unlimited Video Games for Spooktober Fest, see the mystery movie night, see the car show. Well, it's not a car show, it's a trunk or treat, but it usually turns into a freaking car show, and have a great time at Unlimited Video Games Spooktober Fest.
Check out the Great Haunted House. It's Spooktoberfest Volume 4. Retro never dies, baby!
Indeed.
Anyways, I think that's a good plug.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid plug.
Yeah. Go to unlimitedvideogames.com for more info if you want.
Yeah,
or we'll link... You know what? We'll link it in the description. What am I even doing? This is YouTube. I'm a goddamn professional. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
We're recording this Tuesday night, which means by the time that this goes up, I am going to be probably even more delirious than I am right now.
Delirious by Lady Hawk starts playing.
I'll take your word for it.
Hmm.
Anyways, I'm given to understand you brought some racing/Hollywood news to class today.
I have. So, NASCAR, everyone's favorite. No, wait, don't run away. I promise this is going somewhere.
It really is good. This is good enough that I agreed to put it on the list without hesitation.
Yes, because it was just announced earlier today that joining the 2025 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship is the one, the only, Frankie Muniz.
Or as Alan Tudyk would say in Harley Quinn, Frankie Muniz!
I am not kidding. Frankie Muniz is going to be racing professionally in the first level of the NASCAR professional racing ladder. So, it's interesting because one of the things I did not realize about Frankie Muniz is that he basically made so much money from Malcolm in the Middle that he actually effectively retired very young. I want to say I saw a couple people saying he effectively retired at the age of 19. And unbeknownst to me, on that note, one of the things that he's been doing for a while that's been very underrated until the last few years, or at least unknown, is that the man has been behind the wheel of several race cars. Between 2007 to 2009, he raced in the Atlantic Championship, which is a very small open-wheel feeder series. A lot of drivers, at least at the time, it was considered one of the stepping stones for drivers to eventually make it their way into IndyCar. But a little bit more recently, he's been dipping his toes in stock car racing. In 2023, he was taking part in the ARCA Menard series for Rhett Jones Racing, and actually did pretty damn well. For the uninitiated, ARCA is basically the race series below NASCAR, which is also owned by NASCAR. It's freaking weird.
NASCAR Light?
Honestly, yeah, a little bit. Especially since a lot of the cars that run in ARCA, some of them are actually retired NASCAR chassis from like 4 or 5 years ago.
Huh.
But he did an entire season racing for Rhett Jones Racing, and actually finished 4th in the championship that year, which I did not realize. That is really good, because it's a thing of, with the ARCA Menard series, even though it's not the best overall drivers, because the best drivers race in the Cup Series and NASCAR proper, it is still a very, very competitive series, because everyone who's in there is trying to make their way into NASCAR proper. So, getting a 4th place in that series is honestly pretty impressive. He had a couple, small starts for a couple of the teams over the course of the year, but it was announced earlier today that he would be racing in the Craftsman Truck Series for, and I'm gonna butcher these people's names, Reume, R-E-A-U-M-E, Reume Brothers Racing, who run a Ford F-150 race car in the Craftsman Truck Series. From what I understand, they're kind of a know-nothing team. They really haven't won a lot of races, or any races actually, as far as I'm aware. But it's still one of those things where this series is kind of the first real stepping stone into proper NASCAR racing. And honestly, it's probably going to be a great thing for this team, because they'll be like, hey, yeah, guys, we got Malcolm in the Middle in our race car, which is just all the sponsorship opportunities just ready to happen.
Take that, Lois and Hal.
Yeah. He did do a couple races for them during the course of this year. He raced in Nashville and Kansas, getting a best finish of 29. It is 29 out of 36 racers, it has to be said. But considering where these teams usually are and all that, that's still not really that bad. Because again, this is like a small team with not exactly the greatest equipment, so that's not terrible. The fact that he was able to finish and bring the car home is pretty impressive on its own right. So yeah, Frankie Muniz is, well, he's been going stock car racing. He's going to be full-on, for realsies, professional stock car racing. And I never thought there would be a timeline where I would have an opportunity to talk about NASCAR on this podcast, so here you go.
Alright, can't wait to see how that goes.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really watch the Craftsman Truck Series that much, because it's kind of a weird series. A lot of the drivers who are in it are people who are kind of trying to find their stead, and because of that, it either has the best racing or the absolute worst racing in NASCAR. Here's a fun thing. An issue that's very unique about this series is that historically, I don't think it's going to be a problem next year, but for the last few years, there's actually been several times where there's a month-long break between races, because a lot of the drivers who enter this series are literally high schoolers.
Oh.
Yeah, so they have to not have races for a good month so that these drivers can actually finish their senior year of high school.
Alright.
So, this might actually be the thing that gets me to pay attention to the truck series next year.
Well, good on you, Mr. Muniz. Chase that dream.
Chase that dream indeed. The only thing that's really kind of concerning, but again, he's proven that he can wheel a race car, is that he's going to be entering this series at age 39.
And I assume this is like Smash, where anybody over 20 is probably too old for it.
Generally speaking, within motorsport, anyone in their late 30s to early 40s is getting up there as far as time to be spent racing. NASCAR is kind of an exception because it's famous for having a lot of older drivers, but for the most part, it's pretty rare for a driver to still be in a professional racing series out of their early to mid 40s, in all honesty. But yeah, we will watch Mr. Malcolm's racing career with great interest, and I'm genuinely curious to see how he goes, because this is basically him entering the big leagues proper.
Wishing them all the best.
Yes, indeed. So, yes, once again, thank you for giving me an excuse to talk about NASCAR on this show.
No, thank you for giving me an excuse to do a terrible Clayface impression.
Yeah.
I can't subscribe to another thing. My inbox is already swollen with... Anyways, it's Mattel time.
Oh boy, what did they do this time?
Well, so we already knew Mattel was working on a number of ridiculous projects that really have no business being movies. But I mean, I was gonna say, to be fair, they made Barbie a smash success, but it's like, that's...
I mean, was that really Mattel, or was that the people making Barbie?
That was the people making Barbie, but they were smart enough to stay out of their way for the most part.
Okay.
But I'd also point out, Barbie is one of those things that, of the Mattel properties, that one lends itself, I think, pretty dang well to a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, when you've got stuff like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Uno, and Wishbone happening, it's like, what?
Wait, is there an Uno movie being made?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we talked about this before, where Mattel announced a bunch of movies, and we were like, this is ridiculous.
Okay, I forgot about that. I don't know. At this point, anytime anyone mentions Uno, just casually, I still cannot help but think about the absolutely bizarre intro to the Uno PlayStation 1 game that only released in Japan.
Well, get ready to throw another weird thing on the pile.
Oh boy.
Because Mattel is also working on a live-action project based on Viewmaster.
What is Viewmaster?
You know those little binoculars you had as a kid that had, like, the reels that you put in?
How the fuck do you make a movie out of those?
I don't know, Greg! I just don't know! Apparently it's a 4-quadrant family adventure film!
You know what I just thought of? Those binoculars are going to be some weird way to get, like, isekai'd into a new world, and you have to figure out how to get out of the world.
Yeah, somebody's using it as a MacGuffin to travel between different points of the world or between different worlds, and you have to stop it from falling into evil, and fuck me!
Yeah, it's like, welcome to this movie. In this, the title is the MacGuffin. Checkmate, atheists.
I feel like the craziest thing about this is apparently there was previously work being done on a Viewmaster movie at MGM in 2019.
Really?
I know you can make anything a movie, but...
That doesn't mean you should.
The scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think about whether they should.
Right.
Anyways, they're partnering with Todd Black's Escape Artists, and it's set up at Sony Pictures.
Okay.
Todd Black said, Viewmaster has long been a window to the wonders of the world, sparking imagination in kids and adults alike. Teaming up with Robbie Brenner and Mattel Films gives us a chance to honor that legacy while creating an entirely new adventure for today's audience.
Sure.
Based around Viewmaster. At what point do we go, things are getting out of hand? I feel like this is it.
If this isn't it, it's pretty freaking close.
What's next, a Pogs movie?
Don't give them ideas.
Y'all remember Pogs? And I don't mean the PogChamp Twitch meme, I mean Pogs. The little caps, the little caps, and they were a game, and...
Once again, do not get them ideas.
Yeah. Chess, the movie?
Hmm.
I need to stop speaking things into existence. Somebody's gonna do it. Anyways, with that horrifying discussion out of the way, let's move on to something a little bit better.
Oh boy.
We got our first look at Superman's Krypto the Superdog.
The dog has a tuft of hair on it that makes him look like a cockatoo.
A little bit, yeah, but he's clearly not a bird, he is a dog.
Yes.
Now, this isn't... Obviously, there's only so much you could say this isn't what Krypto usually looks like, because Krypto is a dog, but...
And Krypto is also an absolute ripoff that came from the post-COVID era.
Well done. Good job.
Thank you.
I'm so glad they stopped playing those commercials.
Honestly, God, that was the worst. Fortune flavors the bold. Shut
up, Matt
Shut the
Damon.
fuck up.
Fuck you, Matt Damon.
For real.
You're like, explorers, adventurers, astronauts, douchebags who buy crypto. These are the same thing.
Yeah, it's like explorers, astronauts, very clear digital embellishment. All the same thing.
I think you mean embezzlement.
I know what I said.
But they're embellishing the embezzlement, so I guess it still fits.
Indeed.
Anyways, typically Krypto is more of a short-haired dog rather than a longer-haired dog. What do we think? Some kind of spaniel in this case?
I mean, I was thinking a Cocker Spaniel, but until I looked it up, it was just like, no, that is absolutely not a Cocker Spaniel. Maybe it's some kind of a doodle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's some kind of doodle. Yeah.
But anyways, the internet has reacted to this change with all the grace and civility you can imagine, which is to say, there are people complaining this isn't the right kind of fucking dog.
Why? Why? These are the most miserable motherfuckers ever.
Who knows why madmen do what they do?
I think I've told this story. I don't think I've told it on the podcast, but it reminds me of on one of my favorite car forums. There was a user who would always talk about which car is the manliest and all that, and it got to a point where every time he would comment and go off of one of his tangents, one of the chief moderators of the website would just reply to his message saying, "You need to have sex." And I feel like if you're the type of person to complain about Krypto the Superdog because this fictional, all-powerful, superhuman dog is the wrong kind of dog, you're probably in that category.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, I've been there. I've been that person complaining that it's not like the comics, but come on, the breed of dog does not matter.
No, it's what the dog does, honestly. Considering that Krypto has also, from what I gather, always been either what looks to me like some kind of massive Labrador, like a mix between a Labrador and like an American Pit Bull, a change of breed is not the worst thing in the world.
Nah, that's a heckin' good dog right there.
Yeah. Now, the real question is, what do you think the over and under is that Krypto will talk in this iteration?
None. I think it's already been confirmed Krypto is not going to talk.
Oh, okay.
And even then, Krypto doesn't typically speak English. Except in some continuities, like the animated Krypto the Superdog TV series, Rough and Away.
Fair, okay.
That show, I watched a little bit of it when I was a youth, and let me tell you, not great.
I mean, were you able to ascertain that it was not great as a youth?
No, of course not. As a kid, I thought, yeah, alright, Legion of Super Pups, why not?
Fair.
The main bad guy is either Mechanicat or it's Lex Luthor's pet iguana, Ignatius.
What do you mean Lex Luthor had a pet iguana? Somehow I have a bigger issue with that than the cat.
At least in the show, he had a pet iguana, named Ignatius.
Ignatius, hold on.
I think he was voiced by Mr. Pettybones from Scary Godmother.
Oh, that's great. Oh, God. Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah. No, now I remember him. Okay. What was the cat again? Oh, Mechanicat. That is ugly.
Yeah, that's an ugly cat.
That's an ugly, very disformed cat.
From space. From space.
Fair enough.
No, again, I'm very much looking forward to Superman, and this first look at Krypto has not dampened my enthusiasm at all. In fact, having that concrete confirmation that yes, Krypto exists, yes. Alright, cool. We need more wacky shit from the comics, not less of it.
Right.
But maybe not the horse.
No, please no Comet the Space Horse. At least...
Super Horse.
Who fucking cares?
Definitely not in the Supergirl movie, please.
Yeah, it's like not in the way that we know of it. God almighty, that's still...
Or at least make him an actual horse and not a centaur. Please.
Man, that is still just the most cursed thing in the planet. Or at least one of them.
I don't know, that's hard to say when Avengers 200 exists, but we've been over that.
Oh, that's right! Yeah. No, you know what? That is up there!
Yep.
Yep.
Let's move on to the scariest kind of news there is.
Something about Disney?
Blade production updates.
So yes, something about Disney.
Yep. Unfortunately, Blade has been removed from the release calendar entirely.
Okay.
It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. Look, the thing is, I kid around. I make jokes. This is never coming out. But the thing is, we should have seen this coming when Disney CEO Bob Iger said back in May, Marvel is going to be releasing a maximum of 3 movies per year now. They already had 4 on the docket for 2025, and Blade was the most likely one to get pushed back, and then pushing it off the release calendar makes sense considering I still don't think they have a director yet, and also at this point I think they have to save their release dates for building up to and then ruining Doomsday and Secret Wars. So, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Blade ends up being a post-Secret Wars part of the new, probably rebooted universe after they're done fucking up Doom and pissing on the corpse. That's unnecessarily vitriolic, but I stand by it.
How hard can it possibly be to make a movie about a stylish black dude killing vampires with a sword?
It really does seem like you can't miss.
Especially considering they have, because I can never pronounce the man's first name correctly.
Mahershala
Ali. Considering that they have him doing it, which honestly is probably one of the most, when it comes to movies, one of the most stylistic black dudes since Wesley Snipes. This should not be this hard to put up. you can make this movie and not have it have major tie-ins with the MCU. I don't know, like, what the roadblock is, but that's one of them. It's like, no, guys, you can do it. Deadpool versus Wolverine proved it. Like, holy shit.
I feel like, and this is just kind of speculation,
Mm.
but I think having Mahershala Ali might be part of what's hurting the movie getting off the ground, because the only reason it's getting made is because he wanted to play that character. This is not a project that they had plans for in their release schedule. They did it because he wanted it, and presumably because since this was the 2019 pre-COVID Disney Plus era of make as much content as you possibly can, they probably wanted an extra thing, and having the extra prestige of this guy just came off of an Academy Award win was a big deal. But with that comes, he has his own ideas of what he wants the character to be, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a disconnect there, where maybe they're not agreeing on what it is, but also they can't afford to let him go because he's the reason they're making Blade, and if they let him go and they don't make Blade, it looks really bad.
Yeah. I mean, I know we talked about how, at least at one point, it was reported that he was having issues with how long it was taking for this movie to get going.
I think it was something about his lawyer said this is ridiculous, and it's still really not. The thing is, lots of movies don't get made, frankly.
Right.
Lots of movies will go years in development and then fizzle out. So, is this a little weird? Yes. Is it anything particularly spectacularly unusual? No. It's only notable because it's Marvel Studios, who famously has made almost every movie they've ever actually announced.
Well, I think the only thing that will make it weird is if they end up not making it, is that his whole teaser at the end of not Avengers, at the end of Eternals will be just kind of left by the wayside at that point.
Well, that's even weirder because from some of the reports, he really didn't want Black Knight to get involved anyway, so...
Okay.
Very strange. Very strange.
Alrighty.
Anyways, in the place of Blade, Predator Badlands is releasing on that November 2025 release date instead.
Wait, is there a Predator Marvel movie now?
No, it's just Disney owns Predator now, because Fox.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Corporate acquisitions, my favorite thing. And also, Marvel has 3 untitled release dates for 2028. One on February 18th, one for May 5th, and one for November 10th. It's kind of futile to speculate, though, because we have no idea what the MCU is going to look like post-Secret Wars and post-2027. Although, again, gonna speculate. Soft reboot, only one universe, or at least there's maybe a multiverse again, but it's locked off. And then the X-Men and Fantastic Four will have always been around, and maybe also somebody's playing some of the characters who kicked off the MCU, but their actors are either too old or definitely not coming back.
Right.
So that way they can have a new MCU where the entire sandbox is together for once, except Spider-Man, who's still off in his own corner with Sony going, no, only on weekends. You only get them on weekends.
And on that point, starting and potentially continuing a new live-action trend of Peter Parker being constantly miserable.
Yeah! Woo! I love it when Spider-Man hates life! Let's go to trailer time.
Let's do trailer time.
It's trailer time again! We've got movie previews to watch! It's trailer time again! So we got a trailer just today, actually, for Love Hurts, starring Ke Huy Quan and Ariana DeBose.
I am for this movie, even though I don't completely get what's going on.
I think it's pretty straightforward. He was a criminal and his brother had an empire or something, and then he got out of the game, and now he's back in the game.
Well, it kind of seemed like a thing of, like, he tried to get someone else out of the game, and then she just rolled back into it for stupid reasons.
Hiding isn't living, apparently.
Yeah, it's like, hiding isn't living. It's like, yeah, except it is. You're still breathing, aren't you?
He has a seemingly very fulfilling job as a realtor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, our main protagonist was clearly like, no, I was having a great time. Fuck you guys.
But I do like Ke Huy Quan, and I'll see him in just about anything at this point.
Right. Yeah, no. This looks like a lot of fun, honestly.
And I think the director was the fight coordinator for John Wick.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Which is probably where that fun pencil nod comes in.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, watching this trailer, I know you said it's more like, I forget the movie you just said.
Nobody,
but it's like, I'm getting a weird mix of Kingsman and John Wick, but thinking about it, Nobody does also work, too.
Okay, apparently he was responsible for stunts on John Wick, so yeah, that explains that.
Yeah, with a pencil.
A fucking pencil, who does that?
Right.
But no, I'm a big fan of John Wick light movies.
Yeah, which, this definitely has those vibes going for it.
And I know that sounds derogatory, and I don't mean it in that sense. I just mean it in the sense of, there is John Wick, and then there are things like John Wick, you know?
Yeah, this is definitely in the latter.
Yeah, this is not John Wick.
I am enjoying Marshawn Lynch's continued thing of just showing up as some slapstick, but still very enjoyable and somewhat threatening character in a movie, while also still spending his time being the owner of, I think, 3 NFL teams?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, no, hold on. Okay, not NFL teams. He's the owner of the Bay Area Panthers, which is an indoor football league team.
Huh.
I don't know why that's its own thing, but hey, I'm a racing fan, so what do I know? He also owns the FCF Beast, which is a different professional indoor football team, and the Seattle Kraken, which is a professional ice hockey team in the NHL. Go Lightning.
Woo! This Spider Monkey Ninja got hops.
Yes. No, yeah, this looks really fun.
Yeah, it does.
Hmm.
We also got a new trailer for Creature Commandos, and...
This is really violent.
Yeah, it is!
Jesus Christ.
I think G.I. Robot might be my favorite thing about this.
Oh, dude. I'll be honest, although it looks good, I was kind of on a lot of it, but what did get me was the last bit where, take this, Nazi, and they're like, G.I., he's not a Nazi. It's like, okay.
He's so disappointed.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, that genuinely sent me. It's just like how upset he was that he didn't get to shoot him.
But not over-emotionally upset, just a very subdued but clearly disappointed upset. Die, Nazi! G.I.'s not a Nazi. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was good.
I
That got
love
me
it.
pretty good, honestly. Yeah, no, this is like Harley Quinn levels of violent, honestly. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm about it. I like this. I like all the weird monsters. I'm glad Weasel is back.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about Weasel being in it. It's like, how the fuck is Weasel supposed to fit in all of this? And then they kind of showed it to her. Like, alright, that makes more sense, admittedly.
He's a feral monster. He's killed probably a bunch of kids. Who knows?
Yes. I was gonna say, him being, like, around kids and all that in the trailer is just like, nope, that, we have seen how this goes.
Well, I think James Gunn might have brought up in an interview or something similar that it's entirely possible Weasel didn't commit those crimes and was just a scapegoat. It's not like he can defend himself. He's just sitting there going, "Rah!"
Right, like, he doesn't even really make noise. Or
He's
he does
making weird
make
noises and shit like, "Rah, rah, rah." I also like Dr. Phosphorus when he plunges his hand through that guy's gut and goes, shish kebab.
You know, I'll be honest, when he did that, I was like, alright, we're gonna get a badass line. He goes, shish kebab. I was like, that's a little weak.
Yeah, what do you expect? He's not like an actual hardcore supervillain. He's just a guy who got thrown in an accelerator chamber or some shit.
Understandable.
I feel like that's part of the whole thing, is that these are not the A-Team. These are not the mightiest monsters around. This is what Waller could scrape together now that she can't use human subjects.
Good to see that Viola Davis is still doing good things as Amanda Waller.
Good things, quote unquote.
I mean, I still maintain, just because of how much I vitriolically hated Amanda Waller in the original Suicide Squad, she was the best thing about Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but that's not hard.
I know, but I don't know, I feel like it takes a lot, for me in particular, to just, like, look at a character, it's like, can you please fucking die?
Oh, hey, we got Clayface.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, he was the guy in the scene who was fighting Rick Flag Sr. and hit him upside the head with a mallet.
Oh, okay.
The Goo Monster.
Oh, okay. I wonder if he's voiced by the same actor who did Clayface and Harley Quinn.
I'd be very surprised if he was.
Hmm.
But I guess we'll see there.
Right.
Also, I don't know how to feel about Nina. I'm sure whatever she did to end up in Belle Reve, or maybe she got framed, but I gotta imagine either she's framed or it was something really bad. Like, you don't want to push her.
Right.
Don't be so hyperbolically violent. You need therapy.
We all need therapy. Look at us.
That they do. Bunch of whack jobs.
Indeed.
Can't wait to see how this plays out. This comes out December 5th, right? Oh, hell yeah, less than 2 months. Oh god, less than 2 months.
Yeah, that's a very short time frame.
Oh. Where does the time go?
It doesn't, that's part of the problem.
Wolfman! We have a new trailer for Wolfman, and this one is much better than the first one because you can actually tell what's going on in it.
Yeah, it is significantly better overall.
I don't know how I feel about the design, though. We don't get a super clear look at it, but it looks less like a werewolf guy and more like a guy with a bad skin condition.
Right.
That's a little troubling to me. Monster design is very important in something like this, since, it's the monster.
Right.
But I do trust Leywinell. Leywinell has a lot of leverage from me after the Invisible Man. So it will take a lot to get me to say, no. How did that truck end up like that?
That was my first thought. When they intro with that, I'm just like, fucking how? I'm sure it'll be covered in the movie, but like, yeah, I would love to know how that got that way.
I have a theory. Now that I think about it. And that theory is that what actually happened is the Wolfman probably ran out in the road and they swerved and they drove off like a mountain road or something, and that's how they ended up in the tree.
Right.
That's what I'm gonna guess. Which actually, now that I think about it, the fact that there's 2 Wolfmen around is not gonna bode well for this family.
Yeah, no, it's not great. It's not.
Imagine, oh yeah, we killed our husband/dad. Now there's another one.
For real. It's like, what could possibly go wrong?
Whoopsie poopsie. But I think this is gonna be proper tense. I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited. I probably could have cut this one too, just because I don't have much to say other than, yeah, give it to me, inject it right into my veins, but...
Right.
if it were up to me, it would be spooky season all year round.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, since this is the last episode for a while where I'm gonna bitch about Milton, fuck Milton specifically because it feels like Halloween season got cut drastically short. Because we lost a whole fucking week to that goddamn storm. And I know, on the list of complaints to have, that is a Weenie Hunt Jr. complaint. That is a non-issue, because a lot of people got off way worse. But it still fucking sucks.
It is still at least a little bit frustrating, because it does kind of... I'd say much more so for you, but for me to an extent, I did have kind of general plans for the month. It's just, oh boy, we got the wombo combo of natural disasters.
Oh, right, because Helene was also in October. Fuck! God, I'll be glad when hurricane season is done.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost done.
Anyways, continuing on from the werewolf train, we also have werewolves.
This looks bad.
I cannot wait.
This just looks bad.
I mean, does it look bad? Yes, it does. I cannot deny.
I was gonna say, does it look bad? Well, it's like, when you deconstruct it a little bit and like look into the deepness of Frank Grillo behind the wheel of a minigun. Yeah, it looks like shit.
The dictionary defines cinema as this, I think.
I refuse to believe that this is not at least partially a comedy.
Apparently, it's just listed as an action horror thriller.
That is disappointing.
Yeah. Look. Some really great stuff has come from people trying their best from a completely wrong-headed approach and making some movie magic out of that.
Like The Room. I was gonna say, it's like, no, please don't be serious about that joke.
Who's joking?
Oh, I mean, I was joking a little bit.
The Room is a masterpiece, thank you, but...
Okay.
Admittedly, with things like The Room, that's usually flyballing at a lower level of baseline competence than a lot of the people involved with this one.
That's fair. I mean, I don't know. My favorite thing about The Room is how quotable it is, honestly.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. I did not hit her. I did not.
But I mean, Supermoon turning people into werewolves based on genes and now it's coming back, I get behind that.
I feel like that's about equal lengths as full when it comes to writing as there being aliens in Naruto that basically create all of the jutsus in Naruto. That is the only significant thing I know about Naruto, and I hate it, by the way.
But you've been watching or reading Boruto.
So, I am reading Boruto, because it's one of those things where, because of how completely fucking stupid a lot of Boruto and Naruto is, I can read it and not be deeply involved. It has kind of become one of those series where I'm just like, alright, how much more ridiculous does this get? I'm just here to see how silly everything gets.
Alright then.
Yeah, I'm weird. What can I say?
Anyways, this comes out December 6th, so I'm gonna have a busy weekend between Creature Commandos and Werewolves that weekend.
Right.
I can't wait, I'm so excited. Horror in December? I mean, if it's not Santa-related, it's probably good.
Yeah, I mean, we also still have Red 1 to look forward to as well.
We do! Good old Krampusschlop.
It's not horror, but watching Dwayne Johnson get knocked upside the head by a fictional monster will still be very fun to watch.
Can't wait.
Hmm.
Let's go to box office.
Let's do the box office.
Did at least one of us see the highest grossing movie domestically this weekend? I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Smile 2 at $23 million domestic weekend. Currently, as of Tuesday night, it's sitting at roughly $25 million domestic total and $48 million worldwide against a $28 million budget. So this is going to be at least decently profitable from the sound of it.
Alrighty.
And then the movie you saw, Piece by Piece, and admittedly, this placement isn't bad because this is 2 weekends out.
Mm-hmm.
$2 million domestic weekend, $7.7 million domestic total, no worldwide info, but the budget is $16 million.
I mean, all things considered, I don't know. On one hand, it seems weirdly small for a Lego movie, but considering the content of said Lego movie, God, it's so weird that this is a Lego movie.
Yeah, do you want to start with that one?
Sure.
All right. Hit us with those Lego details, like a brick.
Yes. So, Piece by Piece is a animated biographical documentary comedy film. God, that is just a weird thing to say. It's basically kind of a biographical cartoon recounting of the life of acclaimed rapper, musician, hip-hop producer, Pharrell Williams, going from his time growing up in Virginia Beach up until the current day, more or less, and everything that happened in between as far as his life, his music, his inspirations, all the people he worked with, and all kinds of other fun jazz. With the asterisk of the subject matter being like what I kind of go for as far as general interest that I personally have, this is my favorite Lego movie.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I want to make very clear, I say that largely because I am a big hip-hop fan. I love hip-hop and I love rap. I listen to all kinds of music. I love jazz and rock and all that, but I do consider myself a hip-hop head first and foremost.
A hip-hop head?
A hippie to the hip hop.
Hip hop in it, don't stop the pop.
Yes.
Remember when Kangaroo Jack had that in the trailers?
Yeah, I do. Wasn't that in the movie too? I'm pretty sure it was in the movie.
It might have been.
Mm-hmm.
That whole movie's a fever dream. Anyway, continue.
Yes. Yeah, no, this is absolutely my favorite Lego movie. And honestly, it was a thing of I wasn't really able to take it seriously when it was announced because of the fact that it's a Lego movie and because of who it's centered on and everything surrounding him. But this is genuinely very, very good. It's funny, it's colorful, it's well animated, it tugs at your heartstrings in the right places. It does actually kind of get you to think about a couple points as well. The Lego pieces themselves are really good. And not only that, they actually use Legos in really cool ways to represent things about Pharrell. To kind of give like a small thing away, although it's a very small thing in the greater aspect of the movie. There will be a proper spoiler section because I feel like, I know historically when we've done biographical movies, we don't really do a spoiler section, but I feel like it can probably work with this one because the person that it's talking about is still very much alive and well, and still making music, actually, as far as I'm aware. But they use, like, the various Lego pieces to represent the beats that he makes and all that, and that's honestly something that's really cool to see. The animation, all that is really good. I remember reading a thing, actually, that apparently, I forget who has the rights to Lego movies now, but when the rights were carried over from whoever had it before to whoever had it now, one of the things that was apparently missed in the contract was that they don't get to use more well-known characters from the previous Lego movies. So it's like, you can make a Lego movie, but you just can't have anybody from, I guess, Lego Batman or the Lego movie or anything like that. And
or Lego
Universal.
Ninjago.
Yeah.
God forbid.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I'm like, how the fuck do you miss that in the contract negotiations? But apparently from that is how we get movies like this. Yeah, no, this is a really good movie. It's done in an interesting way because there's not really traditional voice acting in this movie, because this whole movie is an interview. It is a long-form interview, and they interview several different people who are involved. They interview, besides Pharrell Williams, they interview Gwen Stefani, Kendrick Lamar, Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Missy Elliott. And the coolest thing about that is that they actually make Lego characters for all of these people, and all of the style, especially like the African American style that they go for in this movie, is pretty well done on Lego pieces, which is
Okay.
just the most wild thing. This is a really cool movie. Actually, before I kind of get into recommends and whatnot, it actually does work as a kid's movie.
I told you!
Yeah, I was very shocked by that, considering they show Snoop Dogg and Kendrick Lamar and a few other people. I'm just like, I don't see how you can include these people with the particular songs that are tied to Pharrell Williams and have it still work as a kid's movie. But god damn it, they pull it off. They actually do a really, really funny joke in that aspect that I am very much going to leave to the spoiler section when I get to it, because it is too good to just, like, give away. It's one of those, not like an in-your-face joke. It's a show, not tell joke, and it's still a thing of, like, I had to stop myself from, like, busting out laughing.
Alright.
Yeah, they actually make this work pretty decently as a kid's movie. I would say this is not like a little kid movie, but this is a movie that would, like, probably appeal to, like, a preteen to teenage audience, at least.
Very cool.
Yeah. No, this shit is good. I do recommend seeing this. I feel like, now granted I say that, but it is a thing, if you're not into hip-hop and contemporary rap music, you're probably not going to have a good time with this, because obviously with where Pharrell picked up, because Pharrell Williams has been a mainstay in the hip-hop industry for like the last 20 years. He got really his big start going in like the early 2000s, so it's pretty much 2002 to current hip-hop. If you're not into that, you're probably not going to have a great time. But this is objectively a really fun movie.
Oh, I'm sorry I missed it then.
Yeah, no, it's a good time. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say, because it's a thing of, like, again, it's, on one hand, there are things that I want to say in the spoiler section, because it's someone who's still very much alive and well. But to that end as well, it's hard to give away more to kind of like paint the picture of the movie, because the fact that it's done in an interview structure makes it harder to kind of like pick particular things out or particular events out that paint a better picture of it overall. And also, I'm not very good at describing these in general. It's why I try not to do things like have us see two completely separate movies if I can help it.
Yeah, but I needed to see Smile too. It was spooky season.
Yes, and for me personally as well, this was a much, much needed palate cleanser after fucking Joker 2 and Megalopolis.
Yeah, I don't want to give the game away too bad, but Smile 2 was better than those, but probably not by as much as you were looking for.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's kind of it. And I think this is the part where I have the spoiler section. It is admittedly going to be a very short spoiler section. But yeah, this is a good time. I definitely recommend it.
Alright, you want to do the countdown then?
Sure. So yeah, if you don't want to get spoiled on piece by piece, look away in 3, 2, 1. So the thing that gets me the most about this movie, and something that I kind of identify with, is the relationship and the impact that music can have on a person, especially to a musically inclined young black kid. One of the really cool things that they do with this movie is that, I mentioned earlier that they use like colored Lego pieces and light up Lego pieces to represent different beats that Pharrell has made during his career. But they also do use a lot of that to kind of show how music influences a person's psyche and how it represents someone. There's a scene very early in the movie where Pharrell is sitting in front of his parents' boombox listening to a Stevie Wonder record, I want to say.
Ooh!
And the movie just goes apeshit. It just has all these psychedelic colors and Legos like building themselves and deconstructing themselves and all that. And just going into how it's a thing of when you listen to music, especially music that you identify with, it's not just one thing of hearing the music. You can kind of feel it. You can kind of get an idea of what's going on. You can more or less envision how the music's movements to a certain degree as you're listening to it, if it's something that you're very deeply captivated by. And it's one of those things where, for me personally, I've always loved music. Well, I'm not going to say always loved music. I think it's more accurate for me to say, as a kid, I was kind of when it came to music in general, until I hit that point where I heard music that I was captivated by. And for me, that was more so for discovering Jay Dilla, who was a very, very, very famous, but still very underground hip-hop producer, who he worked a little bit with Kanye West, but he also worked with A Tribe Called Quest, Common, I think he did a little bit of work with Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes.
Ultra rare as opposed to common?
Yes. Also just had a smattering of various beats and remixes, some definitely more unofficial than others. But in the moment where Pharrell is talking about like just being mesmerized by music and having all the colors and having just like being completely pulled into it, the movie pretty much won me almost immediately, because I identified a lot of that with me discovering hip-hop in high school. So that was extremely cool to see. And then the part that they really use to sell this being a Lego movie is when they get into Pharrell as his career blows up. Because we get to a point where Pharrell and various bandmates, because he's still part of a group called the Neptunes, there's a particular scene where they're in the studio that Pharrell has built up and owns, where he's working with different artists, and it's showcasing a bit of how Pharrell would go room to room to room to different artists who were recording or practicing or whatever, and would just check in on them, see how they're doing, offering feedback as necessary. And they do this really cool thing where basically the one part of the room where like the music booth is, where Pharrell and Hugo and everyone else sits, they stay more or less in place, but the actual Lego set, the recording box that the artists are performing in, that gets kind of like taken apart, pushed to the side, and put back together.
Oh, that's a cool effect.
Yeah, it's a really cool effect, so that's really fun to see. The thing I was mentioning earlier that was a great joke with Snoop Dogg, and also the thing that made me go, I can't believe they made this work in a kids' movie, is that they talk about how Pharrell met Snoop Dogg and Pharrell and Hugo, who, by the way, when I say Hugo, the person I'm referring to is Chad Hugo. He is a Filipino-American producer who actually went to high school with Pharrell Williams, and they were all part, and two other guys in them were part of a group known as NERD, N-E-R-D. If you've played any kind of action or racing-oriented video game, or potentially watched a action-oriented or sports-oriented show or movie in 2005 to 2008, you have probably heard Rockstar by NERD at some point, or one of the remixes that were made later down the line. But it gets to the scene where Pharrell is describing the first time he meets Snoop Dogg, and it's Snoop Dogg and 10 Crips, all of which represented by Legos, which is the most cool and hilarious scene ever.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a thing of, the Crips are genuinely a very dangerous gang, and they are not to be trifled with, but it's still really fucking funny to see them represented as Lego pieces, and the room is covered in smoke, but it's coming out of a can that says PG spray.
Alright.
And I'm just like, alright, that's pretty fucking good. But the part of the movie that really grabbed me, that I was not expecting this movie to go, considering that it is, even though it is an autobiographical movie, it's still a Lego movie ultimately, is where it goes into Pharrell's creative run that he hit before he created music for the Despicable Me films, which I did not know about.
You didn't know the Despicable Me song was him?
No, because I don't pay attention to Despicable Me.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, he did that. He created the song Happy, which I knew of that. That was the biggest song of the year that it came out. Like, that was the biggest song. What's up?
I'll admit, that song makes me unhappy.
Oh, come on!
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I've just heard it too many damn times.
Oh, it's so good, though.
Is it? Is it really? This isn't about the song Happy. I just have to be a hater sometimes, alright? And
that's fair. But it goes into that, and then it also goes into everything happening when the Black Lives Matter movement first really kicked off. And we get actually a scene of protesters protesting the police, again, as Lego pieces, which is insane.
That's a little harder in the paint than I expected a Lego movie would go.
Yeah, it is, because especially for really annoying reasons, it feels like a lot of modern media in general, unless there's a good reason that ties into the overall story, it feels like a lot of pieces of media, whether it be like movies or TV or whatever, don't really tackle that protest and the protests that come from it unless they absolutely have to. Admittedly, in this movie's case, it does make sense to do that because it leads into Pharrell producing the song All Right for Kendrick Lamar, which I had no goddamn clue that he was one of the producers on that song. That completely shook me. But I especially did not know that Pharrell also did the hook on All Right. Because if you've ever heard the song, Pharrell is the part of the song after Kendrick does his verse where he goes, "We're gonna be all right." I'm just like, really? That is insane.
Wait. The song from the Wakanda Forever trailer?
Yeah, All Right. The one that, like, Kendrick Lamar got in trouble with Fox News
Oh,
with.
shit!
Yeah, he produced that.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, and I audibly said out loud in the theaters, like, fucking really? And I'm just like, oh shit, there's people here. Yeah, he produced, like, one of the best hip-hop songs of the last 15 years. And although, granted, again, I am biased on that because it made Fox News angry. And anything that happens in hip-hop that makes Fox News angry is something that instantly becomes a favorite of mine, personally.
To circle back to your point about not a lot of movies covering the Black Lives Matter movement, unless it's a specific focal point and important to the movie itself, the reason you don't see that, not to make it a whole thing, but you don't see that because most big studio movies go through focus group after focus group after focus group, who sanitize things and go, I feel like that's a bit much, it's a little politically charged, because they don't want to piss off too big a core demographic of potential viewers by inserting risky politics or anything like that.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, that's me off my soapbox, back to you.
I was gonna say it. I am pretty much like on the soapbox next to you, but you probably fit on it better because you're smaller.
Yep. I just want to throw that out there that the reason why it doesn't pop up a lot is because a lot of studio executives are cowards, but go ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and that's kind of the last major thing before the movie, because it finishes up with him, Missy Elliott, and a whole bunch of other people doing a concert at the end of the movie with the new song Piece by Piece, which is in the movie Piece by Piece.
Hey-o!
And, just having a really good message of how one can take things and build them up to be something better, much like Legos, which, shockingly, when that's said, my marketing cynicism did not go off immediately. I mean, it did eventually, because it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, that's good marketing, but it's the thing like, that's good marketing, but that's also genuinely a very good message too, so I can't hate on it too hard. And yeah, that's basically, that spoiler section was longer than I anticipated, I will fully admit. But yeah, that's Piece by Piece. Once again, really fucking good. Highly recommend.
Alright, cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, if I was better about getting, like, physical DVDs for movies that I like, I think that would be, like, the one Lego movie that I would physically have.
Cool. Alright, let's bring the mood down a little bit. Let's talk about Smile 2.
Yeah, let's bring the mood down a little bit right after I get finished talking about the Black Lives Matter movement.
I guess technically we're bringing the mood up a little bit, but...
Yeah, or at least, is this a sideways promotion of a movie from what we just talked about?
You know what? I'll call it a step down from the effusive praise that you were delivering onto Piece by Piece.
Okay.
We'll call it a step down in that department.
Right.
This is a sequel to the 2022 film Smile. Like the original, it's directed by Parker Finn.
Mm-hmm.
Same old business. The entity is still kicking around, or the Smile entity, whatever you call it. It's still around.
The Smile entity.
The Smile
titty.
The creepy face Smile asshole. All right. So
right.
What it does, if you didn't watch the first Smile, is once it gets in your head, you have 7 days, and then it makes you kill yourself violently in front of somebody else, at which point it infects the person who watched it. And the only way to get around it is if you violently kill somebody else in front of a third person, at which point the entity leaves you and starts haunting the third person. And during that week that you're possessed, you will see a bunch of people as smiling people with overly big smiles, it should be specified, and trippy hallucinations and what have you, and you can't trust what's real and what's fake, and yeah. And this is more of that. Only this time, our protagonist is Sky Riley, a pop star played by Naomi Scott, who is the best thing about this movie.
Oh, that's a good start.
No, she is genuinely a tremendous talent in this, because she's also doing the singing.
Really? They don't have someone else doing the singing and her dubbing over it?
No, I mean, to be fair, she was Jasmine in the live-action Aladdin, which I totally forgot about until right this moment.
Fair.
And I was kind of lukewarm on that, and I feel like even for giving her her own musical number, that her role in that was not as fleshed out and developed as they like to pretend that it is.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, she really gets to show off her chops. She knocks it out of the park. She's carrying this whole fucking thing, pretty much. And
okay.
Quite frankly, one of the better performances I've seen this year, because she really sells the trauma, the fear, the anger, the helplessness, the occasional bouts of borderline delusional optimism.
The je ne sais quoi of depression.
The je ne sais quoi of depression, yes, thank you, Pierre. Jesus Christ. So, this movie, I think, is a little bit better than the first one. I was kinda lukewarm on the first.
Okay.
I have a more favorable opinion of this one, but in a weird way, being better than the first one in some areas makes it not worse, but it makes it disappointing when in a lot of ways it's still the same.
So it's gone from lukewarm to room temperature.
If this had been the only Smile movie, I think I would like it a lot more. But because this is the second one, yeah, it's nice that it made some improvements, but in other spots, it's still painfully just as frustrating and annoying and stupid as the last one.
Oh boy.
Which gets even worse, because director Parker Finn said that a follow-up film would be notably different from the first, because he thought, there's still a lot of interesting stuff to explore in the world of Smile. I'd want to make sure that there's a new, exciting, fresh way into it that the audience isn't anticipating. On that front, good sir, I'm sorry to say, you failed.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
In a lot of ways, this is the first Smile all over again. So I'm gonna go on another tangent.
Okay.
Rules-based entity horror movies are hard to do multiple movie franchises out of. I mean, to be fair, movie making is hard, sequels are hard, horror sequels are hard, horror sequels where there's a specific set of rules get really difficult. Because, by the first movie, the audience knows the rules. We are up to speed, we know what's going on, which makes it a little less engaging to watch somebody else stumble to a conclusion that we're already aware of. After a while, starts to feel a little redundant. And in a lot of ways, Smile 2 is that.
Okay.
It takes a very long time for her to find out what's going on, and the whole time, there's an initial bit of trauma of, oh, how long is it gonna take, and by the time it gets to it, you go, oh, finally, okay, she's up to speed.
It's not a thing of, oh my god, it's like, finally, we're getting to the good shit.
In a weird way, maybe it's because I have aspirations to minor levels of fame, but I found the message in this one a little bit more relatable, because the Smile entity is one that represents trauma in a lot of ways, and this time, rather than parental-inflicted trauma of past events, this one is fame-related, and how you always have to be on all the time, and you can't turn it off, and you spend your life chasing this success, and then when you get to it, that just breeds more stress, and more trauma, and more work, and it's not actually the escape from your problems you think it is. So maybe it's because it speaks to my own aspirations as a cautionary tale, but I found that the message itself was a little bit better.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, I found the scares scarier, although that's probably because there's more jump scares in it.
Oh, that's frustrating to hear. I mean, it's not like I was going to see this anyway, but even speaking as someone who is a total bitch when it comes to horror, nothing gets me and also pisses me off as much as just, like, excessive jump scares.
I don't know that I'd call it excessive, though, and admittedly, I have a dim opinion of jump scares on the best of days, or at least, I have a dim opinion on the average day, and a neutral, slightly favorable opinion on the best of days.
Right.
I'd call this one of the best of days. I have a neutral to favorable opinion on the jump scares here, because one of my big problems with Smile, the original, was that the build-up to the scares was a lot better than the scares themselves.
Okay.
Here, the build-up is fine, but now there's actual payoff. I mean, admittedly, the payoffs are jump scares, but something's better than almost nothing.
Like, there's proper consequences this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of the things that they do with the jump scares, they're effective. It's not just, oh, something has jumped out at you. It's doing something else with it. It's distorting an image. It's doing something a little more creative than just, here's something.
Okay.
So I'll give it points for that.
Fair enough.
However, circling back to the problem with doing a rules-based thing, actually the problem with doing a sequel in a lot of ways, especially for horror movies in general, is because the audience already knows what's going on, some twists are easier to guess than others.
Oh boy.
In the case of Smile 2, the easy-to-guess twists are a little frustrating, and then the twists that aren't easy to guess are frustrating.
On today's episode of Who's That MacGuffin?
Yeah, I'm gonna save that part for the spoiler section, because I feel like to even hint at what prior knowledge will give away the twist is going to give away the twist.
Right.
But suffice it to say, it's just frustrating that in a lot of ways this whole movie is watching people play catch-up to things you already know or things you already guessed because they hung a giant fucking lampshade over it, and even the things that aren't just end up paving the way for more disappointment.
So the Borderlands movie.
It's better than that. At least Smile 2 made me feel some things, even a little bit uncomfortable at points. I cannot say Borderlands made me feel anything.
As I say, it's like, well, for me, it's like Borderlands ... with the asterisk of I've played the games.
Yeah, no such problem here. I'm numb to that shit.
Right.
I feel like that might be it for the non-spoiler section.
Alrighty.
So, to whether or not you should see it, that's difficult. That's very tough.
Okay.
Cause I think it's an improvement over the first one, but I also feel like this should have just been the first one, because in a lot of ways it is the first one.
This is like the first one that actually feels like the wheels are spinning with proper grip on the road.
Yeah, if this hadn't been a sequel, I think I would have had a much more favorable opinion of it, but because this isn't new, it doesn't do enough new. And it just kind of illustrates how limited this concept is in terms of longevity. And I swear to God, if there's a Smile 3, but the E is a 3...
You just willed it into existence, man.
I did. Good fucking God.
You know what would be fun? It feels like from how you've described these movies, it would be fun to do kind of the experiment I did with you with the Fast and Furious, but with the mercy of there only being 2 of these and not 10. Where you just have someone watch Smile 2, and like, but it says Smile 2. It's like, nope, just ignore the 2. This is Smile. And just gauge their interest at that point.
You know what I think would be really funny? The next one is from the perspective of somebody who isn't infected by the entity, but their friend is.
Oh, that sounds mean.
You'd never get away with it because the marketing would be all over it. You'd have to spoil it in the marketing, and also it would probably be a boring as fuck movie.
I mean, I feel like it's either going to be horrifically boring, or if it's not, it's going to be like the most mean and probably like horrifically depressing movie on the planet. Because then it has to be a thing of these horrible things happen to this person's friend, and they're just, I don't understand what's happening, and I feel like usually, even for like high-stakes horror movies, there still has to be something where the protagonist is not completely hopeless. I don't see how you make that without the protagonist being horrifically hopeless.
The problem is it would have to be a secret. That's the most frustrating part. It would have to be a secret that this is a Smile sequel, and marketing would never let you fucking get away with it.
After Earth, made by M. Night Shyamalan.
Because the thing is, if you let people know in advance that it's a Smile sequel, you would have exactly the same problem that I just described, where the audience is waiting for the main character to catch up. But I think you could do a really suspenseful movie where you're watching your friend go crazy, not sure what's going on, all kinds of random shit keeps happening, and they keep insisting it's not them, it's something else. They freak out every time you're near them, you're trying to figure out what to do, how to help them, and then a week later, suddenly, they've got that big-ass smile, and then they fucking gut themselves in front of you. And then you start seeing it at the very end. There's some potential there. The problem is, again, you'd have to keep it a secret, and they couldn't. They would not keep it a secret. Yeah. It would be all over the marketing, so there's no fucking point.
Right.
Anyways, going back to should you see this movie, I guess if you're a horror aficionado, yes,
go for it.
If
you saw the first one, go for it.
If you saw the first, I don't know. If you saw the first one, if you liked the first one, I guess this is more of that. But if you wanted something a little different, don't.
Right.
I've currently got this right below Kung Fu Panda 4 on my ranked list. It's at number 39.
Wow, lower class then.
It's lower mid.
Right.
I think I might be a little harsh on Kung Fu Panda 4, if I'm honest.
It's like you went to see Smile 2 and just like, perhaps I treated you too harshly.
No, I'm just seeing that Kung Fu Panda 4 is 38 in the list, and I'm thinking, I didn't dislike it that much, did I?
Right.
But I mean, when you've seen 60 movies, there's gonna be a lot of things in the middle, and it's really more that Kung Fu Panda is a disappointment relative to the rest of the franchise. This isn't about Kung Fu Panda 4.
But it can be, with just a simple donation, as in the form of subscription to the Scarlet Troll.
I need more than that to do another Kung Fu Panda 4 episode, alright?
Fair enough.
Someday I'll set up a Patreon.
To say, I don't know where I was going with that, but continue.
Anyways, if you don't want to get spoiled on Smile 2, make sure to click away in 3, 2, 1. So, this movie opens with Joel, the boyfriend of the main character from Smile, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
After his girlfriend, his ex? Whatever, the main character from the first one set herself on fire in front of him.
Right.
It's now 6 days later.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he tries to get rid of the curse by ambushing a couple of drug dealers at the house where they're holed up, and killing the main guy's accomplice in front of him. Because the drug dealer killed a woman and kid and got away with it. So he's like, okay, this is a rat bastard, and he'll probably pass it on to some other asshole. If he does.
Right, yeah.
But alas, it turns out there was a third well, first of all, there's two problems. One, he accidentally, a shootout ensues once he kills the first guy. And in the process of defending himself in that shootout, he accidentally shoots the second guy dead.
Nice! So that was just a waste of time then.
Well, not quite, because it turns out another drug dealer ends up being in the house and seeing the whole thing. And he apologizes because it's like, this wasn't meant for you, this wasn't supposed to be for you. So he's free of the curse, but in the process of fleeing from more of the guy he killed's associates, he gets hit by a fucking truck.
Isekai, Truck Kun strikes again!
No, he just fucking dies. Like, his leg's lying in the middle of the road. And the truck drove into a transformer or something.
Robots meet the eye.
Oh no, the electrical kind.
Oh, that's boring.
Anyways, unfortunately, the drug dealer who ends up getting the curse passed on to him is Naomi Scott's character's drug dealer.
Of course it is.
Because I didn't even mention, she was in a really bad car accident a year before the events of the movie, and that was after being on a huge bender of drugs and alcohol and what else have you, that severely injured her and killed her boyfriend at the time. And she's now on a comeback tour. She's gotten clean, allegedly, but she's actually still got a Vicodin problem.
Why do I feel like I'm starting to lean towards hating this movie?
Well, no, it's kind of understandable in her case, because she's still taking Vicodin, but it's because her back is still fucked up, but because she has a history of substance abuse, as she explains, no doctor will prescribe anything stronger than Tylenol.
So is it bad that I feel conflicted about that, because it's an explanation that does objectively make total sense, but still feels horrifically convenient?
Yeah, no, but it's not an easy situation, because on the one hand, yeah, that's fucked, you shouldn't have to deal with that pain, but on the other hand, you can't blame the doctors when it's like...
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the person who wrote the prescription that Sky Riley OD'd on, you know?
Yeah, or relapsed on, or what have you.
Yeah, so she goes to get some more Vicodin from her drug dealer, Lewis, who then proceeds to bash his fucking face in with a weight plate from one of those dumbbell things. 3 times!
3 times!
And we see his face after each hit, and it gets progressively worse.
Oh boy.
This movie goes fucking hard with the gore.
Is it more gory than the first one?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the first one wasn't all that gory as far as I remember. So, her mom is a real stage mom, and also her manager, which is not a great combo.
Her manager is also a stage mom?
No, her manager is her mom.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah,
not a dangerous combination.
Not great, not great. She's encouraging Sky to reach back out to her ex-best friend Gemma, who she got in a big argument with, but Sky's not ready to do that yet, until the curse starts manifesting, at which point she contacts Gemma, who is remarkably quick to mend fences and rebuild bridges, and I think you can already probably see where this is going. Because I sure as fuck did.
Yeah, continue.
Things continue to deteriorate, partly because Gemma's got her own life going on, so she's not able to be there all the time. Sky ends up determining that she's not ready to do the tour because this thing keeps haunting her, and also because all the pressures of the music industry and whatnot are weighing on her, but her mom is keeping her involved with, you have to do this, you gave your word that you were going to do this, if you quit this now, we are finished.
What do you mean, we? That's what I would say at that point. It's like, what the fuck you mean we for?
Let's see. There's a really interesting point where she's supposed to give a speech at a charity event.
Okay.
But from her perspective, the teleprompter stops. And then she starts going on a thing about how much chasing success in the music industry has actually kind of fucked up her life.
Okay.
And then she sees a hallucination of her dead ex, who's played by Ray Nicholson, and therefore is very good at the threatening smile because he's Jack Nicholson's son.
Nice.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson with the entity smile is something else now that I think about it.
Oh, I believe it.
There's actually a pretty horrifying scene where she's in her apartment, and then the entity manifests as a legion of smiling fans, like at least a dozen.
Oh.
In her apartment, all crammed in her hallway, which is a mirrored hallway.
Right.
So it looks even more menacing, and they're all on weird choreographed poses like it's a music video or something with that menacing smile on their face. And it should be stupid, and it is, but it's also kind of fucking menacing.
Yeah, as I say, I can see that being genuinely, like, very scary to look at, even if it is, like, a little bit dumb.
Oh, right, and before that happens, she's approached by a guy named Morris, who's a brother of somebody who got killed by the entity, like, 8 links ago, who's an ER nurse, and he has an idea of how to stop the entity once and for all, which is temporarily kill her, so that way the curse can't spread to somebody else, and then resuscitate her. Naturally, she doesn't really go for that.
I mean... I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like, as much as I would not want to make that decision, I feel like I'd be like, well, it's worth trying.
Really, die for several minutes and count on some stranger who says that you're being haunted by some metaphysical entity to Okay, I'll give this movie a lot of shit for a lot of reasons, but...
Yeah, I mean, that is also because I also know what's happening in hindsight.
Yeah. Then the scene at her apartment happens. The figures all pick her up and then slam her head against the piano so she gets a concussion. And she wakes up at a wellness retreat where her mom is like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna stay here today and focus on recovery, and then tomorrow night we're gonna go do the first night of the tour, at which point an argument breaks out, and the entity seemingly possesses Sky's mom and forces her to stab herself with a glass blade, only for it to turn out, no, apparently the entity possessed Sky to kill her mom.
I see this as an absolute win?
You'd think so, except now she's in the hospital surrounded by people who are going to assume that she's just crazy and not possessed.
That's fair.
So, then she escapes, steals a gun, steals a car.
Well, this escalated quickly.
Gemma just happened to be there, saying that Sky's mom called her to show up, and is wildly on board with helping with this steal a car and drive to Staten Island plan, and if you haven't guessed where this is going by this point...
Oh, hell no. No, this isn't happening.
Sky then gets a call, and oh look, it's Gemma, who happens to say, yeah, sorry it took me a few days to get back to you. As you can imagine, I wasn't actually sure I wanted to talk to you.
Oh, do they pull the whole it's all a dream thing, basically?
Yeah, because it gets worse, like, that's the bit...
Okay,
that's
officially fuck this movie.
No, because that's the twist where I saw that from the first conversation they had in the movie. I went, she's not there. She's not actually there. Because I've seen the first movie. I know how this goes. I'm not fucking stupid.
Jesus Christ.
So then, Sky manages to reassert control through some kind of mantra or whatever, and meets up with Morris at an abandoned Pizza Hut.
Do they have the most well cinematography pizza meal ever?
No, it's empty. It's abandoned.
Oh, fair.
So they want the plan is we go into the freezer. I inject you with this thing that stops your heart. I wait 9 minutes. I inject you with adrenaline. Your heart stops back up. Hopefully, it's killed the thing.
It does not kill the thing, does it?
Well, don't get the chance because then Morris leaves the room to go grab something real quick. And Sky and the Entity get in a fight, and Sky tries to reassert control, and then the Entity is like, oh, by the way, the entire, third act of this movie, potentially more, never happened.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, that's the big fuck you twist, where it turns out, when Sky comes to, she's at opening night of her tour at Madison Square Garden, and her mom's still alive, so that didn't happen. Who knows how long she's been out of it. And then the massive fucking uncomfortable meat entity from the last movie comes out of a duplicate of her, forces itself into her mouth, and she stabs herself in the eye with a microphone in front of the entire crowd, which means either some random schmuck got possessed from that, or thousands of people got infested, which means it's the end of the fucking world. I don't care. This is a dumb fucking movie. And the fact that they built... the really frustrating part is the fact that they were building to something interesting. The idea of her being willing to throw away her happiness, potentially even sacrifice her life to make sure that this thing didn't hurt anybody else. Only to pull the rug and go, oh, what's that? You were expecting us to do something subversive and shocking? Don't be ridiculous! This is still a horror movie, my dear boy! No. We planted obvious seeds from the first fucking trailer that we were gonna do an on-stage pop star suicide, and boy, howdy, we're gonna deliver on it! Granted, is it less horrifying and grisly than the fuck you ending we pulled last time, which was itself only partially saved by the fact that it was horrifying and grisly? Yes! Is it actually less intense and borderline white bread compared to the last 2 hours of the movie you've currently been watching? Yes!
Look at the scene of, her stabbing herself in the eye in front of thousands of people, everyone being horrified and just looking at her on the ground going, you're fucking 10-ply, bud.
But hey! We've still got the fucked up flesh entity from the last movie! Gaze upon its horrifying majesty! Like a meat centaur! That's just about as good, right?
Sure.
No. Oh!
No, not at all.
Well!
Shit.
Got your fucking money, though!
Oh, yeah, this sounds awful.
Why on earth would I go see a Smile 3 after that? Knowing that it's entirely possible that when I go see Smile 3, it's gonna turn out literally the protagonist doesn't even exist!
I mean, I don't know. It's why would I go see Smile 3? Because there's literally nothing else better that weekend like there was this weekend.
When the entity has such massive hallucination-inducing powers that it's able to fake entire days happening with no indication of what's been going on the outside in reality, why should I fucking care?
Yeah, because at that point, my question is, okay, so you've been able to hallucinate, the past week of this woman's life, if I had to guess. How long has she been out for? Has it just been a matter of minutes? What's going on here?
There is no reason to get invested in anything that happens in future Smile movies, because it's one thing to go, okay, certain things have not happened in this movie, certain things played out differently. This is just a big giant fuck you.
Yeah.
And it leaves no reason to get invested in any character struggle, because they are probably doomed.
Right.
And everything we see about them might not be real anyways, so... The fuck? And, like, what are you gonna do with Smile 3? Either one random person got possessed, in which case it's literally just gonna be Smile again, or this thing has now infected thousands of people, in which case the human race is probably fucking screwed.
Right.
Ugh. It doesn't ruin the movie as much as I'm exaggeratedly making it out to be, but it's so disappointing.
I mean, it definitely sounds like it ruins any particular interest in this becoming a long-standing franchise, that's for sure.
Yeah, because no trust. I do not believe anything that I see in any of these anymore. Because why would I? Why would I?
Right.
Ugh. Even the funny part is, the fucking terrifying, horrible meat monstrosity with multiple jaws and rows of teeth is actually less horrifying in this one because it's in broad daylight on a stage.
Okay.
Part of what made it horrifying in the first one was the fact that there were shadows and you had to focus on it to see it.
Right.
To, like, take in all the grisly, disgusting details. Here, there's a giant fucking spotlight on it.
Right.
It's actually less creepy. And again, because I've seen it before, the novelty is worn off.
Yeah, this is literally nothing new at this point.
Nah. Yeah, I don't know. This was a thing. It really is crazy how, like, this doesn't change my ranking of it at all. I still like it about as much as I did, but if you tell me there's a Smile 3 coming out, I shan't be watching, I don't think. Just because it's, why, so you can do this again? No thanks.
Right.
I mean, maybe I'll catch it later on streaming or something, I don't know. But I think that about wraps that up for this week.
Yeah, I'd say so.
In which case, thanks so much for listening, everybody. I already did the spiel, so I'm not going to do it again. Next week, I guess we gotta do Venom, the please, Last Dance. Mary Jane's last Venom dance.
Venom 3, Electric Boogaloo.
No. Absolutely not. Why would you do such a thing?
Because I am Chaos Incarnate, and I am also sleepy.
Oh, fuck, I can't believe you've done this.
Right.
Oh, wait. Conclave has a limited release that weekend. Like, I'm gonna have to, no, I have to see Venom 3. I can't not.
I mean, I only have time to see Venom, I'm pretty sure.
It's really bad form if I don't go see Venom.
Right.
But I mean, I didn't see The Flash.
I mean, how long is what's Venom's long time? Oh, it's only an hour 50.
Okay, under 2 hours. That's not bad.
No, not at all.
It's actually kind of breezy. All right, I guess I'm doing Venom 3.
Hey, that rhymes.
But yeah, you're right. But I'm taking the wins where I can get them, if you can call that a win.
I fair enough.
But regardless of what we end up seeing, this has been Under the Bridge with Cody, aka the Scarlet Troll.
And with Greg, aka Greg.
And we'll catch you all next week.
Goodbye, everybody.
I'm gonna sleep through all day tomorrow. Bye!